You guys are so nice. You are already applauding, and I did nothing yet. Um, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. Today, I like to focus on something that we forget when we are in festivals, conferences, which is art. I know everything we do is related to technology, science, but there is also art. So today I'm going to torture your souls talking about art. And the art that I like is conceptualizing. What is conceptualizing? Is when you have to envision the compositing, for instance, that is my area of expertise. I believe compositing doesn't happen in the software. The software is just a translator. But the compositing happens here. That's why I like Nuke, for instance, which is a software that works in a node-based structure, like a mind map. For the people that is not familiar with the mind map, it's a way of structuring thought. It was invented in the 70s by a psychologist, blah, 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 blah. I said I'm going to talk about art. So let's start by understanding why conceptualization is important in general. So I'm going to put now a video. Whoever knows what is the drawing that the guy is doing, I want you to tell me. The first is going to get an award, okay? Is my thanks. That is the award, okay? We don't have budget for more than that. So whoever knows what it is, the first one, let's see. Nobody? Still? Now. Look. Table. A table. Who said the table? What's your name, sir? Nice. You said the table. Let's see if it's a table. Do you think it's a table? I know you came to a high technology computer graphics conference and yeah, well, it's a chair or it's a table? You know, it's taking time. And this time is important because I want you to reflect. When we are going to analyze light, you are going to see the process is exactly the same thing. So I think the guy is about to finish. Yeah. So who said it's a table? Who thinks it's a table? Jeez, I just scare all of you. It's a table? Who says it's a table? Raise your hands. A chair? Raise your hands. A sports car? Really? So I'm going to tell you the sentence. The right sentence is, this is not a table. Okay? That is the drawing. Well, that is what the guy who was drawing, that is what he intended to draw. This is not a table. It's kind of a table. It's a representation of a table. As you can see, we can now, together, analyze a very important question, which is, What makes a table to be a table? Have you ever thought about that? What do you think if I ask you, describe a table? You can tell me it's a surface with 4 legs, because that was the drawing that we were discussing before. So if I analyze the table, I can describe the table. But if I describe the table right now with this table in here, I can tell you a table is a surface with 4 legs. Okay? Everybody agrees with this? Good. So this is not a table then. Oh yeah, this is also a table, but no 4 legs. It's kind of 2 legs and it's strange. Before I could say the table is made of wood. Well, this is partially made of wood, but what about the legs now? We have a contradiction, but still, when I put this picture, you know that is a table. Your brain automatically, without needing for explanation, you know that is a table. What about this? This is also a table. And now the concept of the legs is getting even more complicated, because now the surface is getting into swirls to create, from that surface is becoming the legs. Okay, and what about this then? So this is a surface that bends and gets the legs from there, you playing with balance. I don't need to explain or to say that you guys can accommodate, no worries. Come on, we have cookies. You can say this is a table. It's a very characteristic kind of table. So you can say, okay, so a table is a surface that somehow gets into balance, rising, but the legs are not important. Well, then, what about this? When you see this, you think it's not a table? Even if the concept that I said in the beginning, that is a surface with 4 legs? So what's going on? I can even go even beyond and say that this is also a table. But this table is just mixing 2 concepts. Even the concept of the octopus is embedded in there. So it's blending concepts. When we are analyzing light, we are actually doing that. In the beginning, when I put the video of the guy drawing and doing the table, it was kind of a long way of seeing something that is a table, but it's not telling me what table it is. It's just telling the conceptual idea of what should be a table. When I say the word table, it appears on your mind something like that. But when we are doing an analysis of light, it's like, what is light? Well, it's light, this is light. But it's not about light or job. It's, everybody that is in this room, more or less, is interested in moving pictures, and we sell exactly this. We sell light over a surface, or in the case of video games, light coming from a surface because it's a monitor. But it's all about light, and we still don't know about this very complex phenomena that even for scientists is still kind of mysterious. When I said this is not a table, it seems like it's stupid. Well, what about this guy? This guy said this thing. For the people that don't know French, this is not a pipe. And that was very, very smart. Look, we are in 1929. And this guy, who was a kind of interesting, he said when they asked about the famous pipe, he said, the famous pipe, how people reproached me for it, and yet, could you stuff my pipe? No, it's just a representation, is it not? So if I had writing on my picture, this is a pipe, I've been lying. That is quite interesting. So it was a statement to make us think that what we see, what we perceive, is not exactly what we think it is. So now, I'm going to give you this. This is me. Now you can buy you can get the NFT, so you can pay millions for this. And the question is, it is true, that is not a table. So, yeah, but what is the thing that we need to analyze? The thing that we need to analyze is what makes a table a table. And in order to analyze that, I was placing it here. Maybe you cannot read much, but there is a part of this graphic that is a mind map. It's a way of structuring the ideas that I'm trying to describe the multiple iterations that your brain can have analyzing the substance, whatever. But there is a part in here, around here, or here, this part, the essence. The essence is what kids draw when they are painting something. When you are painting a table, you get the surface and 4 legs, because that is representing enough of the essence of the table, enough not to make any mistake. But still, we are far from telling a story. What do I mean with telling a story? I mean this. If I go to the essence, the part on the top, you see that that is the drawing. So if you see that picture, once it's finished, you see it is a table. There is no mistake. But if I add more detail, I can define what kind of table. So I want to go beyond that concept, because I don't care, when we are telling stories, I really don't care about what kind of table, what kind of light. What I care is, what is that table telling me? So in this example, for instance, this is a semantic table. What is a semantic table? It's a table that is telling me already a story. Why? Because it's from a certain period. Even the picture is taken with a certain background. So it's like rainy outside. It sounds like London, so it's depressing. The books, and maybe it's the table where Margaret receives the letter from his husband when he was to the Second World War, telling, if I'm not coming back, tell my son that blah, 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 blah. See how can I elaborate over that picture? I cannot say the same thing from the essence, from the first one. In the first one, we are focusing just on say, this is a table. That's it. So when we are doing any kind of computer graphics, we need to go beyond the essence of what is what we want to showcase. Bertolt Brecht said that there is nothing that can be in a stage that does not represent an idea. Even the stage itself, empty, is representing the idea of emptiness. So every time you are creating computer graphics, you need to keep in consideration that everything is telling the story. So just to be clear, how many people in this room is a computer graphics artist? The rest is coming here because there are beers? So from the computer graphics artists, how many of you are digital compositors? The rest of the people, no worries, nobody's perfect. So, so the thing is like, I can make different iterations on there, and this list can get literally infinite, because ideas are infinite. So the thing is like, we need to conceptualize what we are discussing in the shot, like for instance, this table, and materialize that idea to provide enough for the story. I believe in a story, you have two different kinds of information. The information that is adding to the story and the information that is removing to the story, from the story. So that is why as much importance of what you see in the frame is what you don't see in the frame. And later I'm going to make a demonstration of what makes an artist to be great. Of course, thank you very much. I don't need my grandmother to tell me that. But the thing is like, everything is about storytelling. And even the technicians or the technical questions of the computer graphics, even that makes the story. So that's why, for me, visual effects are all about science, technology, and art. You cannot remove one. It's not going to be the job. So the balance between them. So that's why I don't want to focus on why Unreal is so great, why Nuke is so great, why Maya is so great, why this remote is great. It's not doing the presentation. I am doing the presentation. Yeah, it's very comfortable. I can have even DS, so I can play. But this is not making the presentation. So this is Nuke, this is Maya, this is Unreal. You are driving. So the thing is like, compositors are artists. Artists tell stories. I'm going to put something more, because it's not exactly that. Good compositors are artists. Artists tell stories, the rest just do A over B with fancy notes. So that is the thing. When you are just putting together images, you are limiting yourself to the essence of the job, the essence of the computer graphics. We are all filmmakers in here. I'm sure everybody in here loves movies. There is something that makes us to be the same, to have the same passion. And I can even tell you, depending on your age, what is the film that makes you work on this profession. If you are like me, about 40, Star Wars. If you are in 30s, Jurassic Park. If you like animation, Toy Story. If you are slightly younger, Tim Burton. We can go like that. There are things that are milestones that are making people in generations just to make that. I hope nobody in here is old enough to get like, yeah, Georges Méliès inspired me. Like, okay, 200 years old, good. So that is the thing that I want to tell you in here. It's like we can tell stories, and it's just a little difference. I use math to tell stories. So I'm going now to change the discussion and to go from what makes a table to be a table into what makes light to be light. And this gets slightly more complicated. So to elaborate more about this, we need to go into what is the best source for an artist, art. So if I tell you, describe a woman, be very careful, first of all. Be very careful, because, you know. But the thing is, like, if you ask the guys of 22,000 years ago, what is a woman? Is like, oh, come on, give me that stone. Ting, 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 ting. This is a woman. By the way, this is like that. This is small. What do you have in the essence of a woman of 22,000 years ago? I'm not going to comment. Okay, you can see very clear. It's a woman, it's not a man. If it was a man, it was a bit more stone in there. But it's different. Look how things evolve, and by studying and evolving, something like 21 years and 500 years later, we get something like this. If you have not seen this statue, rush, go, because it's scary. It's so scary to see that it doesn't look like marble. It looks that it makes you want to touch it, because it's like, is this soft? Look at that detail. That is someone like us without a private life. Someone that was with the stones for a long, long time. We are with pixels, but we are more or less the same soul. So this is the thing. If you start analyzing not about what makes a woman or what makes a human being, but what is the representation? Why? It's like, it's the rape, so it's taking, it's kidnapping. It's like there is aggressivity in there. There is emotion. You can see, like, even in the movement of the body, the muscles that are, everything is telling the story. So with the sculpture, it's easier to see because we are volumetric people. I mean, we have 3 dimensions. Not everybody, but yeah, more or less. Look, if we go now to the representation of what is a woman in the environment, everything looks like, of course, the canon of beauty. I love these paintings, amazing. But I'm going to make you think about something else. It's like the guy doing this, Botticelli, was so focused on getting this girl that, by the way, the model of this painting, you can see in other paintings. If you go to the gallery in Florence, the Uffizi, you can see the same face in many other paintings. So I think there was something in there. They are not telling me. Anyway, no gossip. The thing is, like, he was so focused on her, but what about the background? Can you see the background is like a painting itself? Is like there is no perspective. So it is very cool. It is 1480. That's very cool. But someone in there, a few years after, said, "Come on, guys, the environment is important. Let's add perspective." So then in here you have like the corridors and everything. It's like production value. And actually it's that. So you have plenty of people, the representations, the lines. Look at the geometry. Look at the lines of perspective. Everything gets elaborated because someone stopped thinking just about the subject and said that maybe everything is telling the story. So that is a requisite. So if I put both together, you can see that in here, the concept of the woman is more important than the environment. The environment, of course, this is relative to the spring and blah, 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 blah. But in there, it's all about the people in the environment. So if we move forward, now we are going to enter into my favorite painter, Caravaggio. And I'm going to tell you why he's my favorite painter. Of course, I'm a photographer, compositor, I work with light, so Caravaggio was the master of light. For me, there is nobody else in history of painting that has managed light as this guy did. This guy is already cinematic hundreds of years before cinema. I'm going to tell you just a cue for you to analyze this picture. So let's see it better. This is Saint Jerome writing the Bible. For the people that didn't know, Saint Jerome was one of the translators of the Bible. It's irrelevant. But what I want you to think about is like Saint Jerome was someone who was working in the field. He was working with the animals. He was having a tough life. And still, he was translating. So there is something elevated in there. So Caravaggio is telling us this guy is exposed to the sun. This guy works under the sun condition. How can you say that? Oh, he's in. I promise I get it. Here you are. Look at the hand. Can you see the hand is darker? It's slightly darker. Why? Because someone that has been working on the fields, the hands are exposed to the sun. So it's born, overborn. So it's someone that is telling you without any signs in there because it looks like very noble, very high. But the hands are telling me who this guy is. If we transfer this to the concept of the table, this is just telling me layers of the table. How many legs? What's the material? What's the height? Because in here, without telling me this guy was working is just adding detail that is telling me to see beyond the canvas. This is compositing. Well, this is actually filmmaking. It's showing what is beyond the canvas. And now, I'm not going to even to show you what is beyond the canvas. This is, for me, the greatest painting, okay? So this is the calling of St. Matthew. And now, I can tell you, I showed you before. Can we dim down the lights for me? I want to, if possible, the light of to see me, because I'm not interested in this moment. Okay. I can tell a joke in the meantime. Okay, thank you. So now, why this painting is so amazing? Because it's really amazing. It seems like photoreal. This guy was really, really photorealistic. So he wanted to get light like real. Seems like, yeah, nothing special. It's just, well, but now I'm going to ask you the question, where is the light coming from? And I don't mean the source of light. Where is that source of light? Well, I'm going to tell you. There is a window in there. Let me show you. There is a window in there. This guy knows very well about direction of light. The light is coming from there. It's not coming from the window. Actually, the window is dark. These guys in here were in a tavern. They were like playing cards, doing business things in the evening. There is no light in there. So the fact that he painted the window in there is telling me, hey, look at this. Like, this is a close-up. He's guiding me to say, because the light is right next to that window. And the light is not coming from there. If you continue analyzing the direction of the sight of these people, you will understand this, for instance. Where is this guy looking? He's looking like there. He's like, where is... And I can assure you, Caravaggio knows very well about direction of eyesight, about the lines. So what is happening in there? In here, Caravaggio is using light to show us something unnatural, something that goes beyond the real. I'm not going to say unreal because it seems like he's doing virtual production, but it's something that goes beyond that. The light is not a real plain light. It's an illumination from God. Where is God in here? God is there. In Christianity, this is Jesus Christ, for the people that is not. And this guy is St. Peter, the head of the church. So in here, St. Peter is being, someone is telling him in the ear, like, this is the guy. And in the moment he's saying, this is the guy, he's saying, who? That? And the light is coming directly coming to this guy here. Who? This? So that is why the title of this picture is The Calling. It's the calling. It's not the calling, hey! No, it's the calling of God is calling you. So Caravaggio uses the rules of physics to tell stories. He's bending physics right now in front of your eyes 500 years ago. He started just saying, I don't give a fuck about the light. I'm just going to tell this story, and I'm going to put a window in there to fool you. So if you don't pay attention, you're just going to get like a few guys in a table and two people just pointing. This is not two people. This is Jesus Christ. This is St. Peter, so you understand not even for how they are dressing. It's the concept of the table again. It's not about how they are dressing, how they are, it's how they are interacting, how separate they are, how this guy is looking in the wrong direction, how the others are looking like nothing is happening, because in there is like a ghost, which makes part of Christianity, like the Holy Ghost, which is like, you know, the Holy Trinity and all of that. So it's a ghost. Nobody can see this guy. So the calling is coming from the inside. So now it's reflecting from an inside, a spiritual level, using the real physics of light 500 years ago. So that's why this guy is the fucking genius. So this is just another example, very far from Caravaggio. And now I'm going to go to another subject of using light. You know, this is like establishing shot, okay, if we were in cinema. Establishing shot, Venice. Whoa. In here, we are just showing how Venice is like Los Angeles during peak time. It's like, wow, so much traffic, so many people. This is in the National Gallery. It's an amazing, huge painting. And it's like, you can see how big is everything. And look at the amount of detail. In here, maybe the projection is a bit blurry, but I can tell you there is a lot of detail. People that is crossing in some Marx Square. So it's so amazing. How can you achieve that? This guy was commissioned. I mean, he's not like, oh, I'm just going to pay a lot of people. I'm going to spend years at painting. No. Someone said, hey, I want you to paint my ship with everybody admiring me. Okay, I'm going to do that. So what do? Is you have a deadline. Why? When is the deadline for everybody? When money finish. So, okay, I have this time for the money. Okay, I'm going to make that. So when Canaletto, which is the painter in here, makes these amazing paintings, he's just privileging the detail when you need it. And sometimes detail doesn't mean that you have to go super complex study. No. He's just synthesizing and say, when I look into reality, I need just light to give me volume. So sometimes volume is just going to be, I'm going to show you. A stroke, as you can see, this guy has no even face. It has just a tiny drop of paint just to give the volume. So the picture is made 50-50. So he's doing 50% of the picture. The other 50% is in your brain. So your brain is actually completing and filling the blanks. That's why perception is also important in this way that we are analyzing light. So now, to go beyond, and just to close the painting part, because I think it's almost time, this is subsurface scattering, okay? It's something so cool. Before, I show you a painting that was just showcasing water. In here, this guy wanted to show what is within water. So what is within water? More water. And how do you see water within water? Well, because light is going to do crazy things. So again, it's contextualizing. The ship is not even that important in here. What is important is the water. So it's a study of water. So it's the stormy sea. So with this, I'm just going to take you to you, because you are the most important part of the painting. And we are doing paintings 24 times in a second. So this is just a wheat field with cypresses. It's just a photograph by someone on Google. I don't even know his name. I don't think it's even relevant. Is this important? It's beautiful. It's Tuscany, I guess. It's very nice. But is that important? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, it's nice. But if I show this is slightly different. And I can tell you my first experience with this painting is in the National Gallery in London. I saw this picture and I cried. I don't know why. I just maybe remember that this guy, Vincent van Gogh, in his life of misery, he was completely crazy by the end of his life. He always wanted to, and he started painting very late, very late in his life. He died at 37, if I'm not wrong. And he sold in his whole life one painting to a friend. And he was in the highest misery ever. And he died, everybody knows about the year that he got. He was completely nuts. Then one day, somebody just started saying, this is a new way of seeing reality. And you can see, and if you see in the different museums that they have the paintings, you see that there is so much in every single stroke that is in there. So it's not even important what is in the picture, But how the painter made the picture is all about the point of view. So the point of view in here, of course, is Vincent van Gogh. Now, artificial intelligence can do the same. But artificial intelligence can do the same because it learned from this guy, not the other way around. So can artificial intelligence create something new? Yeah, by mixing all elements, like most of the geniuses does. I mean, they don't create something new. They just fried something that was invented before. This guy was doing something that was completely nuts. People was admiring Caravaggio and saying photorealism and the chair, whatever. And then this guy was like, I don't care. I just see the world this way. And today is one of the most expensive paintings in the world was sold by this guy, who never sold just one. So that's why the point of view is important. And now, I want to interact with you. But before the Q&A, I want to give you a demo. So for that demo, I want to give you a gift. You can use your phones and get what I have for you. I give you 30 seconds. That is not mine. Everybody happy? Good. Can I change the picture? I will. So what you have in your mobile phones is something like this. Is the mind mapping conceptualization of light. Something that I put together and now is yours also for free. I mean, you can pay me if you like, especially millions if you have it. You can have it, you can keep it, you can use it, you can distribute it, you can even not say that it was mine. I don't care. I do this because I want artists to be better, because I believe that if artists are better, sooner or later you are going to work for me, so you are going to work better for me. So it's all egoistically. So this is the mind map that I create just by, every time I was learning something, I have a very eclectic background. I started doing computer graphics and cinematography and acting, writing, but every time I was finding something like worth mentioning for compositing, I was like making a drawing. And one day I was having too much free time during COVID, and I said, okay, I'm just going to make a beautiful picture. And then was, oh man, can you give me? Oh, can you give me? Can you give me? And now it has something like 200,000 downloads. It's just how to conceptualize. It's not the answers. What is important is the questions. So it's not about how many legs have your table. It's like, have you considered that it can have no legs? That is the question. So this is a way of interacting with light, starting from the exposure, the sensitometric curve, the surface normal, and how that is going to influence this, blah, 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 blah. Everything in there has a specific position. You can study or use it as a mantra. You can spend, remember, something like 2 years just with that graphic of the lines going from, and I apply everything that is in there in every project I do, every image I conceive, even as a supervisor, that is my current profession. So this is the way of understanding the questions, not the answer, because it's not about the answers. I don't believe Caravaggio is better than Van Gogh. So it's not about that. It's how you see. What are the questions that are making your point of view to be your point of view? So each one is a different artist. So now, you can keep that. Sadly, we don't have much time to dedicate to that poster, but I'm going to be outside here. And if you hit me before I get completely drunk and wasted on the floor, maybe I can share something with you. No worries, I don't drink, so it's going to be quite unlikely. But let me show you just a little thing in Nuke. I'm just going to remove the mirroring. So I'm going to put the mirroring so you see what I see. Okay, can you see what I see? No, you don't see. Can you see? Yeah, perfect. So for the people that is not familiar, this is Nuke, okay? As I said, nobody's perfect if you don't know it. And what I'm going to do is just a quick example of how to tell a story with one picture. Let me see how you see this picture. Oops, it's quite dark. I'm just going to make sure you see slightly better. Yeah, it is better. So this is just a living room, okay? Just a living room, plain. You have a light. But now I'm going to ask you the questions that I asked. One of the first questions that I ask myself when I'm doing a shot. It's quite weird, I know. What time is it? What time? And not right now. It's in there, in that picture. What time is it? For me, it's important because the light is not behaving same in the morning than in the evening. Even if you think that the sun rises, so the position of the sun is going to be the same. So it's just the sun going to the horizon, one side or the other, but the phenomena is the same. Let me just make you consider something. During night, the surface of Earth gets cold. That makes the air too compact. So when you hit the air with the first sunrise, that is going to expand. A quick expansion at a certain temperature using what is called the dew point is going to create the air to condensate, to create that little haze that makes morning to look like morning, which is completely different from the sun when it's sunset in summer, for instance, where everything is hot and you can see even the way the clouds are forming. So all the physical stuff that is happening in there, for me, is important because it's going to define the light that is coming from that window. I just put this example because I like Caravaggio, just to showcase how you can actually change the mood of that. So I'm just going to make things easier for you. This is a sunset, tropical sunset. So what if this house is in the tropical sunset? So I'm not going to, this is not a compositing class, much better for you. So what I'm going to do is just to describe what I'm going to do. So sunset, tropical, no clouds. It means the direct light is very low, so the sun is very reddish. But the light that is coming in there, let me just draw, so it's going to be easier to follow the throw. Is in here, black. So this is Earth, more or less. Make it better. Okay, thank you very much. So you have in here, this is the sky, the sun. The sun is getting here and it's getting direct light. This is going to be red, but the sun is also going there. Ozone and many gases, this is absorbing red. So what is going to get here? Bluish, so violet. The more you get here, the reddish is this, because the inclination is just going to make the polarization so reddish. The more you go there, the less light you have, so it's going to be darker. But at the same time, goes from red to violet to blue. So you have like a gradient and a direct light. Okay, that is super complex, useless things. So what if I just make this directly with the global illumination is the light that is bouncing. Okay, let's make it slightly darker. Multiplication, I'm just multiplying the values. Let's make it slightly bluish, violet, more or less. And now the direct light. Great, I'm going to use reddish. I'm using temperature magenta because our eyes are very used to blah, 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 blah. Reddish. There is a difference between what I see and what you see. Something like that. So this is the direct light and the indirect light. Something is missing in here. The specularity. Why? Because the specularity is what you see in a material, but it's not the material itself. It's the source of light reflected through the material. I'm just going very, very fast, just to showcase that I am actually visualizing the map that you have in there. So the specularity is just showing me what's the color of the sun. So the color of the sun is very reddish. So multiply. And you're going to see the specularity here. So this is the color of the sun. Now with this, of course, I'm going very quick and I don't have time, but just by applying 3 mathematical operations, which is a multiplication of the values of certain passes, which is the specularity, the direct lighting, and the indirect lighting, putting them together, I just see this. This is the difference between what is outside, tropical, or not tropical, okay? What if I want to make the outside London? You just go, what is in here? Clouds. Clouds means that the sun is not coming directly. Actually, when I live in London, and I am very good orientating myself. In London, you cannot orientate yourself because you don't have shadow. So you don't know where is the sun. Okay, let's remove the sun. So we multiply the sun times 0. Maybe not times 0 because there is some sort of light in there. And now the light is being absorbed by the clouds. So I need to go to the global illumination, which is the indirect light, and reduce it a bit. And because there is no sunlight, the sunlight is actually warmer than the skylight. So in here, I should get slightly colder. And of course, the specularity, I said, the specularity represents the light itself. Well, there is no light itself because it's overcast. So something like that. So regular London. So this is just, of course, a very conceptual and very quick example of what you can do. But it's just to showcase that that map is not actually giving me the answers, but is helping me to ask myself the real questions, which is what makes this light to be this light. I could stay here for hours and close the doors, but we have now 10 minutes for questions, I guess.
No, we don't have any minutes now because we prepare another speaker. But please catch Victor in front and ask him all the questions.
Okay, thank you, everybody.